Hey, Dustin Tibbetts here, financial advisor with Jazz Wealth Managers. We're financial advisors here. We manage our own portfolios and we like to teach clients along the way. So if you need help, I hope you'll check us out at jazzwealth.com. Well, today's a little bit more of an update/history lesson, right? So starting June 1st, TD Ameritrade made a big deal out of the idea that they're going to raise the number of commission-free ETFs that they offer to both their existing customers and financial advisors. If you don't know this, financial advisors, such as ourselves, have to choose a brokerage firm to work through. And when I asked TD Ameritrade if they wanted to work with us, the guy literally said, "Call me back when you grow up." So therefore, I will not work with TD Ameritrade. We work with Folio Institutional. They don't advertise to the general public. They're not like a retail firm. They work with advisors and banks and things like that. Anyways, TD Ameritrade wants to make it easier for you to buy ETFs, so they've expanded their list. It's now up to 569 names from 300. What's more important is they're offering more brands. So if you don't know, an ETF is offered by a company. That company has a name and that's the brand, right? Like Vanguard, that's a brand. iShares, that's a brand. Spiders, that's a really popular brand. There's others like Global X, Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan. They all have their own ETFs. Well, basically, TD Ameritrade opened that window to say now you can choose from more brands. More choices should be good, of course. We all like more choices. But what does it really mean? What's the goal? What are they doing? Why are they giving stuff away for free? Remember, I always tell you and all of my customers, when somebody gives you a data point or they tell you something's free, you should ask why, right? Is it really free? If you go to a restaurant and they say, well, our special tonight is lobster, but the steak is free, are you going to order that steak? Probably not, right? But investors are flocking towards these ETFs because they're free. Well, here's what they're really doing, and it's a really, really simple, strategic and smart thing, I think, that I agree with what they're doing. You got TD Ameritrade, you got Vanguard, which I think now offers all ETFs free on their platform if you're one of their customers. You have Charles Schwab also expanding. What they say, over 500 ETFs now is what they're offering. They're not doing this to be nice, right? They don't make billions of dollars by giving away stuff for free. There's a couple reasons, and one of them is huge. I want to explain that one for you here real quick. So let's dive in. Back in the day, you worked for a company and they gave you a pension, right? This is the history lesson portion of this here. You were paid some sort of percentage of your salary or some dollar amount once you retired. Maybe it was 80% of the highest 5 years of your salary. You work for them for 10, 20, 30, 40 years, whatever the magic number was. You retire at 65 or whatever the age they tell you you can, and you would still get paid for the rest of your life. Well, along the way, companies said, this is too expensive. We cannot continue to do this. So they came up with a whole new plan, basically, which you guys are familiar with today. The Congress basically voted on a new section of the IRS rule, which is called 401k, right? That's what you guys know now. And it basically shifts the responsibility to you. So it says, okay, company that you work for, no longer obligated to provide you any money, you now have to do this yourself. The problem with this, and this is not, I'm not going to go over all of this, but the problem is inside the 401k, the mutual fund companies won, right? They won, and it became that you could only invest in mutual funds in a 401k. So let's think about this for a second, because it's just a touch frustrating, but nobody seems to care. If the company is no longer responsible for paying pensions, or they don't want to, and they say, look, you have full control. Take over your own retirement. Then why are you limited to investment choices? Why can you only choose mutual funds? Well, that's not, by accident. That was by design. And so it's sort of unfortunate because you're limited to a small number of choices inside your mutual fund, and you have to pay essentially whatever they tell you you have to pay for those mutual funds. What's happening now is the ETFs are like, we've grown as much as we can in the retail market. There's nothing left for us. So what's left? Come to 401ks. ETFs want to be in your 401k. Now, some of you already have the option to do this, but the problem is when you go into your 401k, if you have that self-directed option, you go pick an ETF, costs you a couple dollars, doesn't it? Right? There's a commission involved. I get calls all the time from people that say, Dustin, I watch your videos. I'd like to be in the following ETFs, and I have that choice. And I go, great, that's awesome. Here's the problem though. If you, let's say you get paid every 2 weeks and you pick XYZ and ZYX as the two ETFs, just for whatever reason, because I'm not going to get in trouble for labeling an ETF here. So let's say these are the two that you want. You get paid every 2 weeks. You buy a little of this, you buy a little of that. Next 2 weeks, you buy a little of that, you buy a little of that. What happened? Cost you a couple dollars, cost you a couple dollars, cost you a couple dollars, cost you a couple dollars. Naturally, right, the companies that run this for you, they love it. They're getting a few dollars out of you. But that's not going to last very long because you're just going to go back to the mutual funds. So this commission-free structure is really on the back end to attract more financial advisors to use ETFs. By the way, we use our own. We build our own funds here, so we don't have to rely on any of that stuff. But it attracts more financial advisors. There are almost 10, I think there's 12,000 financial advisors in the whole country now. They're using mutual funds, or a lot of them. It attracts them to ETFs because they don't have to sell the client on a new fee. They're also trying to get into the 401k plans on a more broad spectrum so that, hey, there's more money for them to be made because there's still an expense ratio built into it. It's just a lot lower in most cases, right? So anyways, that's just a quick update. Wanted to let you know that there is the next step forward for getting these ETFs in your 401k. I hope this helped you in some way, more of a history lesson, and maybe you didn't know something, and if you didn't, maybe you'll hit the subscribe button. I really appreciate it. If not, we'll be back later today to do the closing beat. It's a stock market update show where we go a little bit geekier and talk about what happened throughout the day in the stock market. Hope you'll join us. It's live at 5 p.m. Eastern on this channel every single day. Enjoy the rest of your day. Talk to you soon.
Why should you choose Jazz Wealth as your retirement or long-term investing service? Our portfolios are managed by us, not some faceless mutual fund manager. Our private classes will teach you everything about investing and getting your dough straight. Best of all, our fiduciary standard means your best interest comes before ours.